Reading Terminal Market. During the last hour, they usually put their cookies on sale. They have to get rid of them, and they're usually like $1. It's pretty rough in there. Just gotta say, Philly, you know, it can be fun to go to a big market where there's tons of vendors with all their food, and everyone, you know, prizes their ability to provide different types of food, or there are other things, you know, materials, textiles, but it's pretty rough. You know, if you go in there, you're pretty much ganged up on by about 10 different families or gangsters, and then everybody wants people to, like, they try to push people around, and try to push people out, and this, that, and the other, and it's just, the whole thing is like a bad smoking core episode from some really, you know, ugly after school special. And I would be like more positive, but it's a bad situation in there. I'm wondering when an ugly brawl is gonna break out and it's gonna turn into like a gang fight or something. I'm like, unless they make it appear like they have rivaling families or different groups, everybody dislikes each other, and it's like on the weird side to walk through there. I'm not with anyone, so if I were with a couple other people, maybe it's not as intimidating. I wouldn't say intimidating, it's just like embarrassing for the city of Philadelphia, that this is what people have to put up with if they decide to visit this city. So I'm kind of curious what the remedy is. I don't know. Everybody, you know, oh well, that's it, trying to be cheerful. So, but it's like a review. Like, you know, if someone were to come here as a journalist or a visitor and review as a tourist, they would feel pretty ostracized, or, you know, they would wonder, like, what's the problem here? Other than there's your usual stuff of, you know, there's a lot of poverty, and I don't know how that gets fixed. I totally get it, you know, but there's a lot of gangsterism, a lot of criminal ring activity and stuff like that. But anyway, it looks pretty now. They tried to make it like New York, so they have all these billboards and sign-in, so that's neat. At least it's a little bit more pleasant out here, except for that light just went out, it went dark. What if that was timed? What if your conversations were actually timed and you're watched that much that they would do, as soon as you try to like have a good moment, then everything goes dark, or your attention is brought to it too much. You wouldn't normally care, but it's like it happens so much that you're like, that's weird. Wicked. Perfect for Philly. If you're into wickedness, come on down. Price is Right. Sprouts, one of the kind of better stores, just because it's all natural. But again, it's like going to Reading Terminal Market. If you walk in alone, and you don't have a group that you belong to necessarily, then you could be prime meat, you know, for tagging, stalking, people playing all kinds of crazy games, and this, that, and the other. So, there's almost a mix of, it's Bernie's colors, but like a border collie mix, something or other. Aww. Hi, sweet thing. He's like a mix of, hey, Bernese mixed with border collie. So anyway,
it's for him to come up now. He's trying to fight Congress. Make it make sense. You gotta show this shit how it is. He's trying to go after all the legend fighters of all regions. Excuse me.
Fashion District. So I do sometimes, I don't come down here that often. Market Street can look neat at night and through a video. It can get a little rough around here. There's a lot of activity and corruption and stuff like that. So even just like, you know, there could be people who try to intimidate someone, you know, who's carrying a camera. On city streets, you're totally allowed. I normally wouldn't. I try to upkeep my channel, but a lot of it has to do with me being stalked and orchestratedly harassed, organized harassment and so much more. Not necessarily from people you see here. Technically it would be people in higher level positions, because some of the stuff that went on is so whack. One would start to think more deeply about oppression and how and why people are oppressed, and it goes way beyond like the obvious. There used to be a Starbucks here where H&M is now sort of featured in this window, but Starbucks used to be at the peak of this like little ramp here, but they're either redoing or they bailed out. I don't know. It's hard to keep stores open, maybe. You know, Philly's sort of fledgling, kind of. It's hard to know. Oh, here comes a totally awesome. So feels a little bit like California, you know. I've seen that guy like maybe 5 times in the past like 3 years, so every once in a while see him. Anyway, it's hard to tell what's going on with Philadelphia just because there are stores that never reopened from the pandemic. There are just new stores that opened but then since closed, like new locations of Starbucks, and like that one back there are closed. So I don't know what the dealio is there, but I figured I'd walk on down here and catch the sights of Market Street, you know, as we approach the holidays. So sorry, I always try to sound chipper, but I've experienced so much stuff that it's just like, what's the problem? Like, why is it that Philly can't change or be a more positive place to live for people? You know, there's tons of people who have tons of money and maybe they have a better experience because they live a certain way. But for the regular person, it's not exactly like, I mean, there's still a lot of neighborhoods intact and family lineages and everybody sticks to their own. And if you're a regular person who came from another state even, you would be like, you wouldn't necessarily know where to fit in because you're not part of someone's family.